Good morning and welcome to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. I hope everyone is doing well on this Thursday morning. We're back with another show to bring you guys today. But before we jump into that, please do me a small favour. Smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if this is your first time watching, and let's get straight on into it. So on the show this morning, we're going to be talking about Erik ten Hag's position at Manchester United, with the story coming out this morning saying that apparently Ineos's preference is to keep Erik ten Hag until the summer, but if the poor results continue, they may be forced to act sooner. So we'll be talking about that, and we'll also be talking about who it looks set to be the favourite to be the new Man United manager. So lots to get into on the managerial position. We'll also be talking about Manchester United's pursuit of a Spanish midfield sensation. So we'll be talking about that. And we'll also be breaking down a deal that looks possible to happen for Michael Olise of Crystal Palace. Lots of other bits to get into on the show this morning. Obviously, it is the transfer window, so there's so much news around United at the moment. So lots to get into. And as always, I invite you to have your say on all things Manchester United in the comment section. Let me know on the managerial position. Let me know who you think United should be signing in January and in the summer, and who should be going. Just give me your opinions on everything, because I always like to see what other United fans are thinking. Let's start the show off with the story about the manager then, shall we? This is coming out from Rob Dawson, who reports for ESPN, and he is reporting this morning that Ineos's preference is to keep Erik ten Hag until the summer, although there is an acceptance that more poor results may force them to act sooner. It goes on to say that Graham Potter has been informally talked to about his plans for the future, and Jean-Claude Blanc has been inundated with calls from agents pushing their claims of their clients. Let's talk a little bit about this then, shall we? Because I know that a story broke a couple of weeks ago, didn't it, about Graham Potter, and I think the reaction in the fan base was pretty much universal. Everyone was in shock. Everyone was in disappointment. I mean, for me, it doesn't fill me with any excitement whatsoever. I don't think he's a particularly good manager, personally. Like, he did a good job at Brighton, but like Brighton are such a well-run club that I think most managers could go into Brighton now and would succeed. I think if Erik ten Hag had gone to Brighton, he would probably have them, in somewhere around 5th or 6th place like they are now. Obviously, De Zerbi's gone there and done it. Graham Potter went there and has done it. He hasn't, as far as I'm concerned, let me just double check. I mean, he's won one trophy in his whole career, Graham Potter, and that was the Swedish Cup in 2016. I mean, is that the kind of manager we really aspire to have? A manager whose, greatest accolade is winning the Swedish Cup. He's not a serial winner. Yes, I know he's, a young English manager, but for me, it's a no. It's a definite no. I wouldn't go anywhere near Graham Potter. He'd probably be like bottom of my list of Manchester United managers. Do I think we need change? I'm 50-50 at the moment. I agree that we need to give Erik ten Hag till the summer. But in the summer, if the results remain the same, if we're still playing poor football, maybe at that point, you do change things up. Because the thing we have to remember is, right, Erik ten Hag joined Manchester United with the agreement that he would have a lot of control over the transfers and stuff. And things have changed now. It's not the same setup as it was 18 months ago when Erik ten Hag first joined. And from what I'm hearing this morning, apparently Erik ten Hag wants to retain authority over transfers, and I actually don't agree with that at all. And I think that if Erik ten Hag is saying I 100% want to have the authority over transfers like he has so far, I think that's a major issue, to be honest, because like his transfers have been poor so far, in my opinion. They've been very, very poor. I think Anthony clearly hasn't worked out. Onana, he's only been here for a couple of months, but has been a poor signing, and anybody who's been watching this show since the beginning will know that I wanted David De Gea to stay. I don't see the point in spending 50 million on Onana when we had David De Gea for one more year. It was a stupid decision for me. Mason Mount, a strange signing. Maybe it will work out in the future, but I think it was a strange signing. And for me, I don't think Erik ten Hag should have any say over transfers anymore. I think, you give that role to Paul Mitchell. You give it to Dan Ashworth. You give it to Jean-Claude Blanc. Those are the people who should be shaping the future for Manchester United, because we've seen how quickly managers come and go at Manchester United. Pep Guardiola isn't signing the players at City. Jurgen Klopp isn't signing the players at Liverpool. Like, these top managers have a top team behind them in order to get the best out of, you know, their resources and out of their players. And if Erik ten Hag is insistent that he must continue to, you know, to be the main voice in the transfer market, like, I don't think that will work going forward personally. But let me know what you guys think. But the headline this morning is that apparently Erik ten Hag wants to retain authority over the transfers, which I think will be an issue for him personally. I do. But let me know what you guys think about that one in the comment section. I'm just going to go through the other managers who are favourite to be the next United manager job. So at the moment, Graham Potter is the number one favourite. Then it's Julian Lopetegui. Again, doesn't really excite me. Then it's Ruben Amorim, who I think is the Sporting Lisbon manager. Doesn't really excite me. Then it's Zinedine Zidane. He's the fourth favourite at the moment. I would say out of that list, he's probably the most exciting for me. Zinedine Zidane, obviously serial winner. You know, he's a big name manager. He's a big ego. He's a big presence in the dressing room. I think, you know, none of those players could really speak back to Zinedine Zidane. I mean, most of our players, have, apart from Casemiro and Varane, have won literally next to nothing in their careers, really. Let's be honest. You know, you look through the spine of our team, you know, they might have a Europa League or a League Cup or an FA Cup, but we don't really have any serial winners apart from Varane and Casemiro, if you actually think about it. Even Bruno Fernandes, I mean, you know, he hasn't won that much, has he, on a major level? He's won, I think, the Nations League with Portugal. He's obviously never won the Champions League. He won the Europa League. Like, he's not a serial winner. Whereas someone like Zinedine Zidane is a serial winner. Like, it's impossible to argue with that. He, in his playing career, he was, if not one of the best midfielders in world football for, you know, a decade. And then as a manager, I think he won the Champions League 3 years in a row, didn't he? I think. Or was it 4 years in a row? Let's have a look. I know his managerial record at Real Madrid was unbelievable, wasn't it? But yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens. But for me, those other three options, I'm not particularly excited about. You go further down the list, and it gets to people like Robert De Zerbi, Hansi Flick, Kieran McKenna, Rolf Hasenhüttl. I mean, it gets pretty desperate from there down onwards. I think, you know, of the list of about 10 managers that are in this, you know, that the bookies are saying are the favourites, I mean, there's people like Antonio Conte. Like, Zinedine Zidane is probably the only one that at this point, if someone said to me, you could swap Zinedine Zidane for Erik ten Hag in the summer, I would probably, if the results continue the way they're going now, and, you know, the players don't seem to buy into Erik ten Hag's ideas, I probably would back that. Obviously, I hope that we turn things round. I hope that we have a great second half of the season. We get top four. We win the FA Cup. You know, that would be great. But is that going to happen? Probably not, to be honest. Al says Wayne Rooney is looking for a coaching job. I wouldn't go anywhere near Wayne Rooney, to be honest. He's gone into Birmingham City, and I think he's lost 9 out of his first 15 matches. He's only won 2 games out of 15. Yeah, I think Wayne Rooney was one of the best players in the Premier League era, but for me as a manager, I don't think he's very good personally. Chris says De Zerbi can implement a style of play fast, though. We've seen him at Brighton. Yeah, I mean, out of that list of managers that I've just read out, I think the only one that mildly excites me, Zinedine Zidane excites me, and De Zerbi I think would be good. The rest of them, I either don't know enough about or I'm not that convinced by. You know, like the Julian Lopetegui, I don't think so. Graham Potter, definitely not. Kieran McKenna, obviously doing a good job at Ipswich, but definitely not the right time for him to take the United job. He would need to go to a team in the Premier League and do well there for a number of years before you could even potentially put his name in the mix. You know, if someone said to me you could swap Erik ten Hag for Kieran McKenna, I would be shocked. You know. Yeah, and even as an interim boss, I just don't see the point in doing that. I would rather keep Erik ten Hag until the summer, you know, properly evaluate it in the summer, have a long conversation with Erik and say, if you are going to stay, you're not going to have the authority over the transfers. You know, we're going to bring in a team behind you to do that. Are you happy to continue? And he might say, you know what? No, I'm not. I want to have the authority. and they might mutually decide to part ways. You know, that could still happen. Al says, we need a manager that won't cost much. We are broke. I mean, the one thing you have to remember is, right, Manchester United were quite clever on one thing, which I rarely say about United. They didn't give Erik ten Hag a massive contract when he signed. They gave him a 3-year contract. He has 1 year left on his contract now. His contract expires in June 2025. So, you know, if they were to remove him in the summer, hypothetically, they would only have to pay him 1 year's worth of salary, which I believe is around £9 million, which is still obviously a hell of a lot of money. But, you know, when you saw people like David Moyes on, I think he was on a 6 or 7 year contract at United, he was still being paid by United until only a couple of years ago. Yeah. But let's move on to the next story, though. Let's talk about the Spanish sensation. In the meantime, get in the comment section and let me know your thoughts on the manager. We have got some breaking news actually coming in right now live. This is coming in from Sport Build. And they're reporting that Jadon Sancho to Dortmund on a 6-month loan is now a done deal. He will arrive in Marbella on Friday to join up with their squad. So the Sancho deal has now gone through. That is confirmed by Sport Build. Let me see if anybody else is reporting this story. Let's have a look. Yeah, I mean, all of the German journalists are now reporting that Jadon Sancho to Dortmund is a done deal, confirmed. So there we go. I mean, at least we've got our business done early on in the window. You know, I was pretty critical of this deal. I thought it was a bit of a joke. But, yeah. Let me know what you guys think about this. Let me know if you're happy with the Sancho exit. Obviously, it's a €3 million loan fee, which includes his wages. Let me know what you guys think. For me personally, I think it's a bit of a poor deal. But, you know, the longer I think about it, there's not really any other option. Nobody else wants to buy him. Nobody wants to, you know, Juventus were the only club who wanted to loan him, and that seems to have disappeared. So we are where we are. Jadon Sancho will go to Dortmund, 6-month loan, and then in the summer, hopefully, we sell him to Dortmund, but we'll have to wait and see. You just got to hope that he goes there and does well, really. That's all we can hope for. But let me know your thoughts on the Sancho deal in the comment section below. Right, let's talk a little bit about the Spanish midfielder then, because I'll be honest with you, this is a name that I wasn't really familiar with until maybe 24 hours ago. I don't really watch that much of La Liga. I watch, you know, some of the big games, like, you know, when it's the El Clasico and all the rest of it. But generally, I'm not that much of a fan of La Liga. So the headline this morning is that Paul Mitchell is very close to being appointed as the United sporting director, which I'm really happy about. And he goes on to say that he has identified Valencia midfielder Javi Guerrera as his first transfer target for the summer. So I've been doing a bit of digging about this guy. Obviously, Spanish international, plays his football for Valencia in La Liga. He looks good. He does. He's the right age profile. He's only 20 years of age, and I like that we are starting to target these younger players because, you know, signing Casemiro at the age of 29 was probably not the most sensible bit of business to do, really, was it? He's already in the Spanish under-21s team, central midfielder. He's got a bright future ahead of him, definitely. Is he going to become world-class? Maybe. I don't know. It's difficult to say, isn't it, at this point? I think he definitely has the potential to become a good player. He can either play in a centre mid position, CDM, or as a cam. He does have a release clause at the moment for around €10 million, which is pretty crazy. But Valencia are apparently trying to tie him down to a new contract. I would go and get it done, to be honest. I think for 10 million, I think it's a good bit of business. Henrik says, how much of his wage do we still cover? So on the Sancho deal, really, really quickly, okay? We are receiving €3 million total package for Jadon Sancho. Now, that €3 million includes a loan fee and their contribution to his wages. Jadon Sancho is on 250k a week at Manchester United. So if you do a bit of simple maths, it's a 6-month deal. His total salary for 12 months is 13 million. So half that. So we're going to pay Jadon Sancho £6.5 million between now and the summer, right? £6.5 million. And Dortmund are giving us €3 million. So, I mean, what's that? So they're giving us about £2.5 million and we're going to have to pay Jadon Sancho £6.5 million. So we're ultimately still losing £4 million overall. I mean, it's a stupid deal for me, but arguably some will say if he goes to Dortmund and turns into the player that he was at Dortmund before, then it will make sense. If he goes there and sits on the bench and doesn't perform, and he falls out with the manager and he stays up all night playing FIFA again, then it's going to be an even bigger problem than it is now. So it's a big gamble by United, because it could either work and in the summer you might be able to sell him for 40 million, maybe a little bit more, or you might be sat here in 6 months saying Sancho flopped at Dortmund, he didn't play, he was falling out with the coaches, he was turning up late to training, he was staying up all night on FIFA. It's a difficult one. It really, really is. But yeah. Al says Sancho is on 350 grand a week, not 250 grand a week. I've got all of the players' earnings here. He's on 250k a week, I can see here. 5-year contract, 250k a week. I think he does have incentives. I think it's a 250 grand a week base salary with some incentives on the top of it. So yeah, I don't think it ever was 350. Let's have a look what else people are saying. Ruben says, Kieran, do you personally think Onana is good enough to be the number one for Manchester United? What does that mean for Alto Bayinda, who's not going to play one single game? I don't think he is personally, but you obviously got to get behind the players. You've got to hope that, it's just a little blip. When you look at all of the greatest goalkeepers of United over the last kind of 10 or 20 years, every single one of them has struggled when they first came in. De Gea was awful at first. Even if you go back further than that, like a lot of these top goalkeepers who turned out to be world class in the end were very, very poor at the beginning. So yeah. Malp says, is it true that we're linked with Choupo-Moting? Seriously, what the hell is this club doing? Yeah, there is a story saying that we are apparently talking to Bayern Munich about a potential loan for Choupo-Moting. I don't think we'll do that deal, though. I think we will end up getting Timo Werner on loan. That's what I've seen this morning. That it looks more likely that, we'll go for, what's he called? Timo Werner on loan. So the final story for the show this morning is about Olise. So I've been doing a bit of digging. Apparently, Michael Olise has a release clause in his contract that is available in the summer. 60 million. And I would go and do that. I would activate that this summer. Obviously, Man City tried to buy him in the summer because he had a release clause in the summer of £35 million. Man City activated that. Olise decided to stay at Crystal Palace. I mean, fair play. He wanted to get game time. He knew that if he went to City, he would be a squad player. And he said, you know what? I'll stay with you at Crystal Palace. He got an improved salary and the release clause went up to 60 million, which is available from this summer onwards. So I think United will go and get this deal done in as soon as the window opens in June, July. Obviously, we expect Sancho to be gone by then. We probably expect to have some sort of outcome on Mason Greenwood by that point as well. So there will be, space in the wing positions for a new player to come in. And I think Olise is definitely one of those players that if we don't get now, someone like Liverpool will go and get, because he's definitely a quality player. He's been doing really well in the Premier League this season, only 22 years of age. So I definitely would go and get that deal done. But let me know what you guys think. 60 million for Olise. Would you get that deal done? I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. I will be back live this evening as usual. Please do smash a like on the video before you go. It really helps to bring more people into the channel and really helps to support the community here on Daily Red Devil. Please do subscribe if this is your first time watching. I'll be back about 6:30 p.m. UK time today. Have a lovely day, everybody, and I'll catch you all later.